Sergey Vakulenko, senior fellow at Carnegie Russia Eurasia Center and former head of strategy at Gazprom Neft, joins us now. Sergey, thanks so much for being with us. I'm really keen to hear your perspective on things. Let me just kick off with where oil is trading right now. We're back above $60, but we were hovering around that $60 mark a short while ago. What does $60 oil mean for the Russian economy here?
Cheaper than that, well, close to that number in India and China, but when the prices are not backed to the Baltic and Black Sea ports, it's $8 to $10 less. And that's stiff because Russian budget has been put together with an assumption of $69.70 a barrel for Urals sold at Russian ports. That was an aggressive assumption. Probably the state financiers realized that price might be closer to 60 for a barrel of Urals, but it's $10 below than that at the moment. So Russia would have to do some hard work with its budget, might have to curtail some civil expenditure, but it's definitely not anywhere close to the point where it would have to curtail its military expenditure. So this does sound as a bit of hardship for the economy, but not yet at the level where it would influence the military spending.
What level would that be? What level would force Russia's hand into curtailing its military expenditure?
It's a good question. Russia spends on war at the moment roughly what it earns for oil and gas exports, oil predominantly these days. Every $10 a barrel drop in the oil price translates into $25 billion per annum for the losses for the budget, or 20 to 25. Probably President Putin and his government would start to translate and send the hardship towards the population before they would start to cut military levels. So I wouldn't expect substantial cuts into military spending until the oil price reaches, say, $40 a barrel for a sustained period of time.
Okay, very clear. So we're still obviously a ways off of that. Let me ask you about President Trump's threat of secondary tariffs. He put this out there. We haven't had much of an update in the last couple of weeks on this threat, but he's put it out there that he's considering secondary tariffs on countries that buy oil from Russia if Russia were to stand in the way and obstruct a peace deal with Ukraine. If we were to see these secondary tariffs come into effect, what would this mean for Russia's oil industry?
It's an interesting foreign policy tool. It has already been introduced against Venezuela, but with Venezuela, it's much easier. It's a small supplier of oil. It sells its oil to a handful of countries outside India and China, to some others as well that used to have general licenses before. And the world could easily do without Venezuelan oil. Russia is a very different case. It's a major supplier of oil and gas. If Russian oil isn't being oil and oil products and not being sold in the world markets, it would mean a shortage. So the buyers of Russian oil would be facing a tough choice between getting into trouble with the United States or paying paying a huge price for their oil purchases or buying oil from Russia. Also, main buyers of Russian oil at the moment are India and China. And it's a very circuitous way to send its message to Russian government. You're not punishing Russian government. You're not punishing a seller of Russian oil. You're not even punishing the company that buys Russian oil, but the nation as a whole that company belongs to. And in the case of China, piling up those additional sanctions and tariffs, whatever they might be, 500%, as the current proposal states in legislation draft in Congress, wouldn't mean much. Currently, the tariffs that are going to effect in China and the current US-China trade war are already prohibitive.
Right.
They are stopping the trade altogether. So it might not be a very effective policy tool.
What about